right, everybody, welcome. No Cap Sports. We finna do our finals preview, man. We done made it through 3 rounds. We at the finals, man. And this is a finals like no other. We got the Bucks in the East, Suns in the West. And this is a finals where no player on either team has ever been to the finals before, bro. So I want to start this conversation now by talking. Is this a good thing or a bad thing for the league? And just what does it mean for the league in terms of the years to come?
Like in terms of measuring good and bad, I wouldn't really, measure in terms of that. I feel like, obviously with the pandemic and more than that, just the shortened off season and injuries, this was something that, we have a lot of guys that we were recognizable names, marketable guys that were missing, no KD, no Steph, no LeBron, and I just think that to have a final devoid of like a marquee talent like that will be hard pressed to find that, even somebody like Zion, the next generation, or Luka, like we'll be hard pressed to find a finals in the next 10 years with like this amount of lacking of star power. Not to say that, I'll say Chris Paul is not a superstar in my eyes right now at this moment at 36. So to have a finals where we're legitimately going to be more team oriented and say that who's going to be the better team versus we're going to need the one dominant guy on each squad, a sort of alpha. I think people are going to say this leading to parity in NBA. I think it's more of a flash in the pan thing.
All right, so Josh, let me ask you something real quick. You got a 2-time regular season MVP and Giannis making the finals. Is that not star power?
I mean, I think the biggest thing that you see once we get in the playoffs, his game is marginalized. So no, I wouldn't call it true star power. First, take off the court has true star potential in terms of marketability. I mean, I don't know for whatever reason. His long ass last name or whatever, Giannis had to just truly pop as a star in the American media. So and then it doesn't help that you absolutely suck in the playoffs. So no, he's not a star.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this then, Josh. Since we questioning Josh, rank Giannis. Is he a top 3 player in this series coming up?
In this series. As of right now, this very moment, no.
He's healthy.
At this moment right now, I would say no. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Chris Middleton at this very moment.
Who's fourth? Giannis?
I dare say Bobby Portis just because how I'm feeling right now. I don't know.
Bobby Portis? Wow.
Hey, but it went off. First playoff start.
I mean, I agree with that. He did go off.
You're not gonna be a superstar in my eyes. Everybody free throws. I'm sorry.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Hard line principles. Like, nah.
That's wild. Hey, but
he's the Ben Simmons.
He's way better than Ben Simmons, bro.
Okay. All right.
Light years ahead of Ben Simmons.
Okay. Yeah.
Ben Simmons, he better not even be over 85 overall next year on 2K. That's how I feel about Ben Simmons. But to answer your question, it's just crazy to think. So going back all the way back to the 60s, it's always just been a star player that's associated with the finals, bro. So the 60s, you got Bill Russell. 70s, you got Kareem. 80s, you got Magic and Bird. 90s, you got Jordan. 2000s, you got Kobe. 2010s, you got Steph and LeBron.
Well, hold on. In the 2000s, you forgot Paul Pierce, 2008 NBA champ.
That's a 2020 IG legend.
I'm talking about consistently there. He went there 2 years in a row. Good for him, bro.
My fault.
They was willing my man off the court because he had the boo-boo. Like,
well, what is up with you and Paul?
Some stuff
I'm just saying, bro. Paul Pierce, bro, he's the truth, bro. That's all I can say. He the truth. He put the ball in the basket. That's all basketball is. Who can put the ball in the basket?
His game was just so old, man, though.
When Tatum's career is over, he's going to be the third best small forward in Celtics history. It's going to be Bird, Tatum, then Paul Pierce.
I mean, I agree with that. But Paul Pierce was still that dude. He hung a banner in TD Garden.
He nice. I get he nice.
Got stabbed, came back. Played the whole regular season.
But like Draymond said, they don't love him like he Kobe. But anyways, back to the facts, bro. 2020s, who's going to be the star player, bro? That's going to go to the finals every single year. It might be D-Book. It might be Giannis. I don't know. Or is this just one of those gap years like when the Pistons were going, like when the Celtics went? Like, what do y'all think? Do y'all think it's going to be a star player coming up that's going to keep going to the finals every year?
To be honest, since you framed it that way, I never really thought about it like that. But looking at this series, I don't see a player who's going to consistently be in the finals year after year. Like you look at Giannis, he's a great player, 2-time MVP, yes. But is he a face that I think is going to consistently be in the finals? No, because you got to look at what talent is in the East. You look at KD with Brooklyn. You look at Philadelphia with Joel Embiid. You look at Miami, a team that features Jimmy Butler right now, but has the potential to add even more talent this offseason.
Always a
Not
free agent destination.
exactly. So I think it's going to be hard for Giannis to consistently make the finals. And then you look out West, it gets even scarier out West. Like, in all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised if this is Devin Booker's only finals appearance in Phoenix. I wouldn't be surprised. You got teams like the Clippers and their big two with Kawhi and PG. Yes, the Suns just beat them, but that was with no Kawhi. And then you got the Splash Bros coming back in Golden State. You just have a lot going on out West to where I can't be sure if Devin Booker will ever reach the finals again. You still got LeBron in LA. You got Portland you got Portland with Dame and CJ. And who knows what that'll turn into. And you still got a budding Luka Doncic in the West. So I just don't know if either of these two teams are teams that are going to consistently be in the finals.
I mean, I feel the same way, Nick. Like you talked about earlier, you know, this is one of the least lacking star power finals that we've had. I mean, it's obvious, you know, injuries. You know, people talk about last year in the bubble, whether that one deserves asterisk or not. But this year, arguably, has been way more affected by injuries than, you know, the pandemic and having to be in one localized location. You know, I will say this though. I think that regardless of how they got there, you know, especially the young guys on on Phoenix, because for the most part, you know, Drew Holiday's veteran, Giannis veteran guys. But Phoenix is developing talent. You know, that laws in a long campaign. This final experience, you know, being in the playoffs, we've seen Chris Paul take 60 years to get to the finals. We're gonna talk about it a little later, but they have some young talent that's getting some invaluable experience, and, you know, a first time look at playoff basketball. So, I mean, would I be surprised if Devin Booker never went to the finals again in Phoenix? Maybe. I mean, had to set this precedent to be able to be around the guys like Monty Williams and Chris Paul, like NBA basketball lifers, and you're not be able to take this experience and capitalize it, I would be a little disappointed we never saw Devin Booker in the finals again.
Okay, so I want to take what you just said. I want to pose a question looking at the finals from the Suns' perspective. You kind of said that last year in the bubble had an asterisk in terms of the championship. So this year for the Suns, you got to look at the path they took to make it to the finals. First, in the first round, they played an injured LeBron and an injured AD when they beat the Lakers. Second round, they faced the Denver team without Jamal Murray or Will Barton, beat them. And in the conference finals, they faced a Clippers team that was without Kawhi. So for the Suns, does this finals appearance have an asterisk on it?
Yeah, for sure. You know, you named about all the different all-stars and guys that were affected by injury, which, you know, directly be related to the short off season. So the guys kill me with, yes, there's still a championship, but context matters. The way that they got to where they got matters. You know, not all champions are created equal. We don't look at the 03 Pistons the same way we look at, you know, 01 Lakers, guys that were true dynasty, legendary teams. So yeah, deserves an asterisk.
How you feel about this, Vance?
Oh no, it does not deserve an asterisk, bro. If they win the championship, they deserve it. All right, let's look at the facts, bro. Anthony Davis. Chances were he was going to get hurt.
But it was way easier for them to get it than it would have been in a regular year with a regular offseason.
But it doesn't deserve an asterisk. All right, so let's say the Lakers were healthy the whole season. They probably would have ended up a top 3 seed. So they would have saw the Suns in the second round.
Yeah.
So the Suns would have won the first round regardless. They would have saw the Lakers in the second round. And let's just say if they did see the Lakers healthy.
So you think Phoenix beats a healthy LeBron and healthy AD?
They don't. But do you think AD is going to be healthy every single year? No. AD is basically Julio Jones, bro. Like they both amazing athletes. The best.
Don't hurt yourself like
they if they get hurt, nobody gonna be surprised. Are you gonna be surprised if Julio Jones gets hurt this season? Let's be honest. Yes or no? Are you gonna be surprised if AD gets hurt next season? Yes or no?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
But you can't say we did not directly see this coming. You know, injuries are always a part of the game, yes. But when you have guys pointing to a year before saying this effect, but this short off season, this will cause these things to happen. When you have players that face of your league come out and saying, you know, regardless of how y'all feel about how he expresses his opinion within the league, which can be bullshit sometimes. But when you have the face of your league stating a year before, these things can be concerning, situation can be concerning, and it comes to fruition, it's like, what are we really doing here? So yeah, it deserves an
is the Lakers ring a real ring or a Mickey Mouse ring?
I was Mickey Mouse. One in the bubble. I mean, TJ Warren turned into Michael Jordan. So that's all the context you need right there. So
you're a hater, bro. Like, for real. Come on. Why are you hating?
Why am I hating? Because it needs context. And I'm not, this is the one that I do want to say. Putting the asterisk by their championship does not devalue them as champions. They won the David O'Brien trophy just like every other team. But we would be stupid as hell to not realize the context of winning the championship. And you're gonna look back 10, 15 years from now and be like, Giannis got to the if this is Giannis' only finals appearance, we're gonna look back and say, what happened to KD? What happened to who else needs right now? Embiid, he was dealing with a meniscus tear, in the West. Where's LeBron? Where's, Dame, CJ? These things need context.
Don't nobody do that.
No.
When the Warriors beat Cleveland.
The same way we look at the 03 Pistons and be like, that was not a team with a true leader, a true champion. We're gonna do the same thing with this team.
2016, the Warriors beat Cleveland. It's just LeBron James by himself. Ain't nobody like, oh, bro, it's just LeBron. The Warriors won 2 in a row, going for a 3-peat. That's facts.
What is the term with context lead up to the? I mean, when Draymond got ejected.
Don't nobody care. They won. Don't nobody care Draymond got ejected. They won. That's their fault.
I will say this, though. When it comes to Josh's argument that context matters, I kind of agree with him here. Because you got to think about just the whole situation, especially the past 2 years in the NBA. 2 years ago, we had the COVID season where everybody's in the bubble. Players adjust differently to that bubble environment. We see what happened with Pandemic P, and we just see the whole context of that playoffs, how it just, shaped out and happened. Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray going back-to-back, 40-point games, et cetera, et cetera. Like, the context matters there. And I think it matters here, too, especially seeing the Suns reach the playoffs and Chris Paul reach his first finals ever. You play a whole playoffs without facing a team without their star player. That matters. Same way it mattered for the Warriors when they won their first championship, in my opinion. Did they still make it to the finals and beat LeBron? Yes. But the way they reached the finals matters, in my opinion. And I think context is something. I think context is just something you have to take into consideration. I don't think it dampens the fact that you're a champion, but I think it's just something that, looking back, you have to remember and take into context, because it's like, hey, you didn't win a regular NBA championship. You're still a champion. We're not going to take away anything from you from winning, but here's how you won, and it's just how
there will be a reason why this is CP3's first ring. He's been in the league 16 years, a perennial all-star, going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But there is a reason why this will be his first time in the finals. Like, man, what are we talking about right here?
I mean, he was injured too. Like, y'all want to say Embiid was injured. CP3 was injured. Yeah. That Lakers series. That's facts.
Yeah. I mean, he has a 1-2 game injury, and then he missed for COVID versus consistently going up against teams that were lacking their best
That's
players.
2 series. I forgot all about COVID. First series against the Lakers, he hurt his shoulder. Second series against the Nuggets, he had COVID. No, it was against the Clippers, was it not?
Yeah, it was against the Clippers. He had COVID.
In the Western Conference Finals.
So what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say?
All things are equal. The Clippers went down 2-0 without Chris Paul. That's their fault. So when it was time to step up, what did the Suns do? They stepped up. That's their ring. They earned it.
Sound like a whole lot of bunch of nothing. Context matters. We're gonna look at it and see. Chris Paul got his first ring win.
Y'all are hating.
Against LeBron. What he did? He didn't have to play a full strength.
He had one shoulder against LeBron. He didn't have to play
a whole full strength Clippers team. That's gonna matter.
He had 2 shots at campaign and couldn't.
I know you think Kawhi Leonard's a great role player, but it matters still. He went against teams that were not at full strength.
Come on, bro.
What are we talking about? Not at full strength. Missing their best player.
The real playoff P showed up. That's their fault.
Yeah.
The Suns are the best team.
I agree with that. Because to Vance's point, the Clippers had 2 chances to take advantage of that series. At both times, playoff P was in the spotlight, and he turned into Pandemic P.
I don't think that's context more of coming back to the mean and doing what we expect. I mean, Paul George is a great player, but we have a track record of him doing this multiple times. So if we got to say, pandemic, Paul George became pandemic P, been pandemic P. He did what we expected him to do when the spotlight was on.
But to this argument, I'm gonna say this: Paul George had to take a bigger load for the Clippers because guess who wasn't there? Kawhi Leonard. You look at Game 4 when the final score was 88-84. Paul George was exhausted. He had to shoulder the load on offense and defense. He had no other star to lean on when it came to those clutch time minutes, and he was just exhausted. Couldn't finish the game how he wanted to finish it. Nobody looks at Reggie Jackson the same way they look at Kawhi Leonard. So I agree with Vance here. The series is totally different if Kawhi plays. But at the same time, the series is also different considering the health of Chris Paul. So it's one of those things that's like, just take it how you see it in a way.
Injuries are a part of playing athletics, or just part of playing sports. But when you have this many injuries to this many important guys in this amount of time, especially when I said guys had predicted this, you had to at least look at it and evaluate and say there's a certain reason why we have this matchup that honestly a lot of people wouldn't have preferred. You think Adam Silver was like, oh yes, Phoenix and Milwaukee, that's the marquee we want. Come on, bro. They advertising conference finals game with Drew Holiday as the leader of the banner. Like, nobody want that, bro. I'm sorry. That's like when Schroeder with the banner head for the Lakers game when LeBron was out. Man, nobody trying to see that. So, no. Next topic. Move on. Y'all don't piss me off.
Okay.
They know the asterisks.
Okay. I think we had a good discussion around the asterisk, bro. So we finna move it on. And we finna get real specific, bro. We finna talk about DeAndre Ayton, the number 1 pick in the 2018 draft, bro. So first of all, I want to look at DeAndre Ayton within the 2018 draft. He was a number 1 overall pick in a draft that included Marvin Bagley, Luka Doncic, Jaren Jackson Jr., Trae Young, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Michael Porter Jr., Mo Bamba, a whole lot of big name, important to their team guys. So looking at this draft class, you got Ayton drafted number 1 overall. If you were to redraft the class, and if you're an NBA GM, where would Ayton fall in terms of the talent in that 2018 draft? Just by raw talent, not talking about team needs or anything. Just raw talent, where would you put Ayton at in that 2018 draft?
In terms of what we've seen like now, like who's the best? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I mean, just off the top of my head, you got to put Luka and Trae in there. Just based on pure talent, I feel like in the league that we're in, a guard-oriented league, you got to put Trae and Luka ahead of them automatically. So, I mean, I know he's been a little bit more successful, but give me 2 guys that can create on the perimeter and create their own shot. Because I love DeAndre, love to come out of Arizona, physical freak, but that is not his strength point, being the centerpiece of an offense. He has a great supporting cast, and even Arizona, that is not what he did. So, first thing like I said, big wings are in style. Guys that create on the perimeter. That's the thing. So just off the rip, before I cheat and look at the research, give me Aiden, give me Luka and Trae.
Bro, it's hard to come across a athletic big like this, bro. I mean, but it's hard to come across a Trae Young and Luka Doncic too. But I just think when it comes to what you can do and what separates you from everybody else at your position, bro, I think DeAndre Ayton is like, I'm gonna say he should stay number 1. Honestly,
I think it's too easy to find guys that could do not if exactly what DeAndre Ayton doing, at least 75-80% of his production. Like, how different would the Clippers? How different would the Suns really be if we switched out Ayton for Zubac? If we went from 20 and 10 to 18 and 14, rim running, protecting the rim, scoring inside, converting off, drop offs. Like, I like DeAndre Ayton, but what he does is not that hard and not easy.
Lakers would have beat them without Ayton. Lakers would have beat the Suns.
I was concerned about recency bias. He's become really good in the playoffs, but we're not gonna act like analysts were thinking he was a bust less than 24 months ago, and with reason.
So you bring up 24 months ago. That was a year that Phoenix wasn't really good. Phoenix
16-66. With the worst record in the NBA.
Yeah, but Phoenix had the number 1 pick in the draft when they got Ayton for a reason. They were the worst team in the NBA when they selected DeAndre Ayton. The worst team in the NBA in terms of record. And DeAndre Ayton has come in and he's come in and he's done what he's supposed to do as the big man and the focal point in the middle for the Phoenix Suns. You look at what he did this season, putting up 14 and 10 a game. And then you look at what he did in the playoffs. He's just been a dominant force all game. In my opinion, he played Jokic to a tie in their second round matchup with the Nuggets. And he's just been a consistent force for the Suns this playoffs, which is his first playoff appearance. So I think when you're looking at the 2018 class, you can put Luka ahead of Aiden. But I think Aiden falls right in the middle. He's number 2. He's the number 2 player in that class just because of what he's done and what he's been able to achieve in terms of team success. So he's got to be the number 2 player in that class.
Guards are going to be worth more than bigs. So you could say Trae Young and Luka Doncic are over Aiden, but what Aiden does compared to all the other bigs, who's the second best big in the 2018 class? Like just what it's been so far? Jaren Jackson Jr.? Maybe.
Probably, yeah.
See how much he floats at the perimeter, basically became a 7-foot shooter.
Okay, Bagley, no. Wendell Carter, Mo Bamba, no. He got a nice song, but no. Who after Mo Bamba? Who else? Robert Williams.
I forgot that
is better than Marvin Bagley.
I think DeAndre Ayton was definitely, and he's definitely coming to the perfect situation where he's going to be most able to succeed. You know, I think there is a reason why that they were talking about him in the way that they were talking about 24 months ago, before Chris Paul got there, before Monte Williams got there. He has definitely been bolstered by his team and his opportunities. I would put him in Sacramento, put him in these other places where he would have had to been the main focus of the offense. And I think we would talk about him a lot more about Michael Olajuwon than somebody compared to all-time great.
Bro, I think his stats would still be the same, bro. He just wouldn't be winning.
I agree with that because I will say this though. He's not consistent in terms of putting points on the board. But he's consistent in terms of the energy and effort he brings you every night on both sides of the floor. He can get his own bucket when necessary, but he typically works within the flow of the offense. When he has the advantage in the pick and roll, he's going to attack and get a bucket. When he's rolling off the pick and roll, he's a lob threat, easy to dunk one down off the lob. And one-on-one, he can operate in the mid-range all the way out to the three-point line if necessary. But when you have guys in Phoenix like CP3 and D Book, it's not necessary for him to do that. But when it is necessary, he can take over games. You just look at some of the point totals he's put up in the playoffs, 22, 24, put up 20 on Jokic in game 1. He can get a bucket, and he can do that consistently. And that's why he's important to this Phoenix team, in my opinion.
True or false? DeAndre Ayton is the third best center in the NBA.
False.
Who's the third? Embiid and Jokic. Who's the third best?
You the one touted JV.
Yeah, bro. But then I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. I saw that Jazz series and it kind of. Yeah.
I mean, what's the defensive player of the year?
Gobert's better than him.
I love. Here's the thing I say: you draft guys that the number one overpick to be the center of your franchise. Franchise. Damn, Josh Love. Franchise. And DeAndre Ayton does a lot of good things that Nick mentioned, bring energy. Because, he essentially play AD to a standstill, outplayed Jokic, I feel like, personally, on that end. It swung that Denver series. But that DeAndre Ayton is not the guy I'm going to throw the ball into the post 10 times a game and say, go get a bucket. And that's what I need for my number one overall pick. He is a piece. I don't need my guy that I invest my franchise in to be a piece. You need to be the piece. And DeAndre Ayton is not the piece. And I don't ever think he can function as the piece.
So after Embiid and Jokic, bro, who else is it?
I like Nurkic in Portland.
He's better than Ayton?
I would say Gobert. I mean, in terms of offensively, yeah, but the way that he impact that Utah team, he's more important to them than Ayton is to the Phoenix team.
We just watched Ayton and Gobert play the Clippers. One looked like food in the paint, and the other one looked like an all-star.
As a matter of fact,
one can move his feet a little bit better. Rudy Gobert changes the way that you had the game plan against Utah.
I know the third best center, bro. I know the third best center in the NBA.
I say Karl Anthony Towns. Oh God, I'm a log.
Giannis Antetokounmpo is the third best center in the NBA.
I'll give you that, bro. I'll give you that. He is a center. I'll give you that. He does the same thing that Jokic does.
Facts. That's a factual, bro. But I want to keep talking about DeAndre Ayton some more, bro. So the only reason I brought up DeAndre Ayton and wanted to make him a focus of the conversation is because he's the fastest number 1 overall pick to reach the finals since guess who? Kenyon Martin.
Oh yeah, shout out to Cincinnati.
I'm
Exactly,
gonna say LeBron.
The number 1 overall pick in 2000. He reached the finals with the New Jersey Nets in 2002. Only took him 2 seasons to reach the finals. DeAndre Ayton is the fastest to do it since then. So, taking this conversation, expanding a little bit more, is DeAndre Ayton the best number 1 overall pick of the past 20 years?
Bro, shut up.
Hell no. Wasn't LeBron James drafted in 2003? Hey, bro.
Yeah, he was.
Get Erica back, dude. Get off the Zoom, bro. I don't know what was in that little cup that you had earlier, Nick. But no, bro. I feel like this recency bias is definitely taking over right now. DeAndre Ayton is a good piece.
He's not even top 5 in the 2010s. I'm looking at it right now. John Wall over him. Kyrie Irving over him. Anthony Davis over him.
There are other guys in his draft class that might take over. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Michael Porter, might take him over Aiden. I already said Luka, Trey. Come on now, he's had a really good playoffs. He'll really get paid. But let me see you. Let me see you make an All-Star team. Let me make you see an All-NBA team before I deem you the best draft pick of the past 20 years. No,
I'll put him in the top 10. I'll give you that. He's in the top 10, but he's not. No, he's the best. No, he's not. He's not even the best big. He might not be a top 5. He's in the top 5 bigs in the past 20 years of number 1 picks. Dwight Howard was better than him. I'm gonna give Blake Griffin. I don't even like Blake Griffin, but I'm gonna give it to Blake Griffin.
Anthony Bennett was better than him.
Whoa.
I just hey, shout out to
and Zion Williamson.
Nah, he would have been cold without his swinging disorder. But I mean, no, there's not a category, but like I said before, there are franchise pillars, and pieces, and DeAndre Ayton is a very good piece right now. But somebody that you can throw out there and guarantee, be competitive and be, we already seen him when he was drafted. Chris Paul came in and had to revitalize that Phoenix franchise. DeAndre Ayton, a good piece he could be your 4th or 5th guy, your best starter. But
can I say
in terms of somebody, what am I saying?
This is a Phoenix team that went 8-0 in the bubble without Chris Paul. So is Chris Paul really the reason?
They had some exterior motivations. I'll say that. Shout out to old girl. That's all I'm saying on that. Shout out to old girl.
I need that mouth.
We all know. I wasn't even gonna. My boy, he wasn't even. You don't want to be the 7th string in that situation, Vance. You don't want to do that to yourself.
I mean, if it's gonna help me win, then why not?
I'm sorry. I need to be first or second in line, like cash in ticket, please. Boop boop. Like nah. But taking it back to sports, no. Ayton is a good piece. Franchise pillar, definitely not. And guy who named John Wall at one time, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, even guys, Derrick Rose, Zion Williamson, guys that I see function as guys that you build a franchise around. And DeAndre Ayton is a lot of things. Probably on steroids because he's above his hell, but a guy you build a franchise around, no, not right now. Probably not ever, to be honest.
So for Phoenix, right now, let's talk about their keys to success. They want to come out as NBA champions this year.
I mean, one of the biggest things I feel like we keep talking about the narrative is health. They have been, they have had relatively good health throughout the playoff. Besides the Chris Paul thing, they have been ability. This playoff has come down to a war of attrition, and they have been the team that has been able to, can keep their same rotation for the longest amount of time. So, the best ability is availability. So they can, maintain the same rotation, keep their core guys together. That's the biggest thing for them, health. Giannis is back and forth. They saying he's going to be available game 1, but we probably all saw the way his knee kind of bent backwards and looked a little baby PG-ish in terms of, they're calling it a hyperextension, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's more damage there. So, health, one of the biggest keys for the Phoenix is to stay healthy and keep their rotation for however long the series goes.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. Health. But the one thing I'm gonna go with is the 3-point shooting from the role players, bro. So you're gonna need at least about three. You're gonna need about 5 3-pointers combined coming from Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder. If you can get that for 4 games in the next 7, I think you're gonna get a dub. Because I think both teams match up well. It just depends if the Suns role players gonna hit their shots. All right, you got Bridges, you got
Cam
Jay.
Johnson.
Who?
Cam Johnson.
Oh, Cam Johnson. I thought you said James Johnson. I'm like, what? But anyways, so you got Cam Johnson. Then you also got the point guard from Lausanne, Cameron
Boy,
Payne.
CP.
As
Y'all
long
know
as
our high school coach dunked on him in practice.
Ooh.
Our coach, shout out my boy Kenneth White, but yeah, he actually got before he was he ain't no superstar now, but before he blew the playoffs. Our high school coach Kenneth White, that went over at USC, yammed on him in practice. So shout out Coach White. He was 6'2" too, getting up. But keep talking, man.
I mean, that was really all I had to say. As long as the role players are hitting their shots, you got Mikal Bridges shooting the 3-point ball at 35%. In the playoffs, you got Jay Crowder shooting at 36%. As long as they're hitting their shots and matching Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday in the 3-point range, I think they're gonna be fine. I think they're the better team, but I actually think the Bucks are the better team. It just depends on the consistency of the Suns, which they've been pretty consistent this whole playoffs and this whole season.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off both of y'all, I think the key to the Suns for this year's finals is the production they get from their bench. You look at the Western Conference Finals and the way Cam Payne was able to step up in the absence of Chris Paul. That was a big factor in that series in terms of them stealing 2 games from the Clippers where Cam Payne had to start. So I think looking at Cam Payne, Cam Johnson, Torrey Craig, who plays some big minutes, especially on the defensive and rebounding end of the court, just looking at guys like that and the impact they can have on the game, if they can consistently contribute and just do what they do in the games versus the Bucks, I think the Suns will find a way to be successful. Because yes, the Suns have a nice core of Aiden, CP3, and Booker, but the way they win games is in those bench minutes. And if they can take advantage of those minutes, especially versus a Bucks bench that isn't as good, in my opinion, as the Suns bench, I think the Suns can find themselves victorious at the end of the finals.
This is going to be, if the Suns do win the championship, this is going to be the first time that a team's won the championship without 2 star power at 2 positions since 2011 when Dirk and the Mavs won it. All these other times, think about the Warriors, the Spurs, the Miami Heat, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They all had at least 2 players scoring at least 25 points per game. This is going to be the first time. All they have is Devin Booker. Chris Paul is he's in the 20s, but he's not at 25 points. This is going to be the first time that you don't have 2 scorers scoring at least 25 points per game since the Dallas Mavericks.
Just last thing I want to touch on in terms of the Phoenix's key to success is definitely like the pace of play. Now, we all saw what happened when Chris Paul came back from injury and essentially allowed LA to get back in the series. Basically, bringing Phoenix's transition offense to a halt. Milwaukee is one of the most stingy defensive teams in the regular season. You got Giannis, defensive player of the year. Drew Holiday, all defensive guy. Brook Lopez, protected the rim. They got Chris Middleton plus defender. So if they have to be able to get out on the break and get offense in transition and not go up against Milwaukee's set defense. The more they can do that, I feel like the more chance they'll have to win, the more offense they'll generate. And then, because the formula for Giannis is simple. You just got to wall up, hope everybody's free throw gets in his head, and then Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, become a lot. They play less like what they were playing like in this series. But if Phoenix can get in transition enough, I would say, 30. They didn't shoot for at least 30 transition points a game. Because once get in the half court with Milwaukee, you're playing that game.
Yeah, but talking about the half court for Phoenix, I know you said transition is important. But talking about the half court for Phoenix, they have a lot of guys that can shoot the basketball. And to Vance's point, you got guys like Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Dario Saric, Cam Payne, all these guys sit on the perimeter that can shoot. Their importance to the game becomes ever important in the half court. Because in the half court, they need these guys to step up and hit shots. And I know I said bench players were going to be important, but it's really going to be the role players, the guys outside of the big 3, outside of CP3, D, Book, and 8. Those are going to be the guys that have to step up and contribute if the Suns want to find themselves victorious. Because
Facts.
you look at you just look at the roles some of these guys played. I already mentioned Cam Payne's performance without CP3. You look at Cam Johnson's performance in Game 5 when he's knocking down shots. Jay Crowder's performance in Game 6 where he's knocking down shots. CP3's performance in Game 6 too. For the Suns, this is just a team that's, in my opinion, you never know who's gonna get hot, and whenever they get hot, that's who the ball finds and who dominates that game. So for the Suns, that's really their big key, finding that hot hand, feeding that hot hand, and just letting the offense come to them in the half court instead of trying to force anything.
Let me ask you one last question. Now I'll be done with the Suns. Do you think these Phoenix Suns are better than Nash and Amari Stoudemire prime Suns?
I would say yes, just because they made it to the finals. Simply because they made it to the finals, I would say yes. You look at this team, I think this is a more all-around 1 through 12 team than that Nash Stoudemire teams. And because of that, that's why I give them the edge, and because of the success they've had.
I mean, in terms of what you define as better, I mean, I think I agree with Nick. This Suns team is a more complete team, better pieces. You know, basketball players are just generally more skilled nowadays. But I think like those D'Antoni teams, those 7 seconds, 7 seconds or less teams, they kind of revolutionized basketball how it's played. So in terms of on-court success, I would probably go with this Phoenix team. But talk about the influence and NBA offense. Just what happened to those guys after they left that team and what their careers became. I would think that those Nash MVP teams were way more influential.
All right, who's higher on your all-time NBA point guard list? I just want a name. I don't want an explanation. Nash or Paul?
It's a good ass question.
Paul, because he's black.
I wanted to say the same thing. I'm just gonna say Nash. I'm gonna say Steve Nash.
Okay. No, he didn't say no MVPs. Nick, you know he did. He MVPs with having 15 points a game. Come on, bro. And that's the only. Move on.
Chris Paul doing the same thing.
He averaged 20 and 10, 19 and 10. Steve Nash was out there taking MVPs from Kobe, averaging 14 points a game. Come on now. Next topic.
All right, now flipping over to the team that has won the Eastern Conference, the Milwaukee Bucks. And I want to start by talking about their all-star 2-time MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. So what does making the finals this year do for his Hall of Fame resume and his legacy?
I mean, definitely adds, a notch in his belt. I mean, personally, and I think basketball historians will agree. I think making the finals is a great accomplishment, but having the fact that he didn't have the CP3 way, having to go head up against Kevin Durant in the Eastern Conference Finals, less per James Harden and Kyrie Irving, but going up against a guy that many people have compared him to, and KD still is the better guy, but him accomplishing and taking down that beast, I think does more than him reaching the final for me.
You want to talk about asterisks? That's more of an asterisk than the Phoenix Suns making.
Ooh, talk to me.
James Harden playing on one leg. Kyrie Irving tore his ankle. Whatever happened to his ankle, he twisted his ankle. Like he dodged a bullet. They was getting destroyed. They was about to get swept. Without James Harden playing, they was about to get swept. That's facts. And
he still had to put over 39
but
in the game 7.
Giannis, bro. Congrats to Giannis. I'm just saying. But that's just the point I wanted to make. I think it's more of an asterisk than the Phoenix Suns making the finals.
Okay. So in terms of his legacy, though, this is a guy that won back-to-back regular season MVPs without an appearance in the finals in either of those 2 seasons. So looking at Giannis before that, he was a kind of, in my opinion, a regular season warrior. A guy that puts up a lot of gaudy numbers in the regular season, then gets shut down in the postseason and never makes it to the big dance. But the fact that he's in the big dance now, even though he was injured for the last 2 games, just does that still signify anything to you? Just the fact that he's actually made it to a finals now and has a chance at adding finals MVP to his resume.
I mean, would it elevate him from a status to, a Paul Jordan, historically, a guy that never made it to a Charles Barkley level, a guy that, clearly can be a pillar for a franchise, Hall of Famer, first ballot. Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, but for whatever reason, if he doesn't win this series, just cannot get over the hump. And I just think the one thing about his game and his historical legacy would be such a glaring hole in his game that is easily exposed and, extrapolated in the playoffs. But, those are the things that he's been dealing with. He's found a way to work around it, at least, in the Eastern Conference Finals. But in terms of his legacy, I just think that his inability to shoot the basketball will probably still be the biggest thing. And whether or not if he wins this final and becomes a final MVP, obviously yes. The other thing, he will launch it to potentially top 20 of greatest of all time players, in my opinion. But he's just anything short of that, we're still gonna be referring to same argument we do with Ben Simmons. Why can he not shoot the basketball, and why did he allow that to essentially control the narrative for his career?
I love his heart, bro. It's one thing about Giannis, bro. He's gonna try no matter what. He's gonna try his harder. And like you compare to Ben Simmons, I think that's what separates him from Ben Simmons. At least he tries to shoot the threes. At least he's not scared to attack the rim. He's not scared to get into the flow of the offense. We saw Ben Simmons, he literally would go down to the block and stand there until his teammate shot a shot. That's ridiculous, bro. You were number one. Was he number one overall? I'm pretty sure Ben Simmons.
Yeah, Ben Simmons was number one.
But man, Ben Simmons is not a bust. Let me get that. Let me get that straight. But to be a number one draft pick, he's probably the worst out of the last 5 years besides Markelle Fultz, and that's a fact. But back to Giannis, bro. I think he's gonna be a top 20 player all time. I think it's something about his heart, bro. At least he tries. Give me somebody that's willing to try, bro. I'll take over somebody that just want to, no, I can't do it. I'm just gonna do what I do, bro. Give me somebody that's not scared to try, not scared to fail, bro.
Okay, and I do respect Giannis for that. He's consistently worked on his game to improve his game. You think about when Jason Kidd was the head coach, him trying to take on the responsibility of being a point guard, and then him just morphing his game to where he's become a back-to-back regular season MVP. That's something you have to applaud him for and have to just, tip your hat to him for. But I will say this. In the closing moments of Bucks games, the ball isn't always in Giannis' hands. And the majority of the time, it's in Chris Middleton's hands. So I kind of want to ask you guys, is it time to recognize that Giannis isn't the Batman of this Bucks team? Instead, maybe it's somebody else.
I don't think you're allowed to deem Chris Middleton the Squirrel as the Batman of this team. Yes, he does operate as the crunch time guy. But I think we've seen situations happen like that before, where the best player, the most talented player on the team, is not necessarily the guy you go to in the crunch. Think about the example that comes to my head immediately is the Heatles. I don't think anybody's going to deny that LeBron James, in my opinion, was going to be the peak of any basketball player in that 2012 run. But who do they go to down the stretch? Dwayne Wade. For whatever reason, his ability to get to the rack gets fouled. LeBron was still really developing his post game. Really, that kind of hindered him a little bit. But the bigger thing with Giannis is obviously his inability to create good shots for himself down in the clock when in a half court setting. And Chris Middleton does a lot of things: ugly, streaky, inefficient at times. But he's able to create his own shot and get his mid range game is lovely, throwback. For him to be able to get into his shot and get a good shot from Milwaukee when they need to at any time, that's a skill that is relied upon. Going as far as call him the Batman, I wouldn't do that. But the guy that they need to go to in the crunch, yeah, there's no problem with admitting that. And it's proven to be true.
Okay, so I see that you don't see Chris Middleton as the Batman, but let me throw some facts at you. Games 5 and 6, Giannis is out. The Bucks win both games. Chris Middleton in game 5, 26 points, 50% from the field, 33% from 3, 13 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals. Closeout game 6, 32 points, 40% from 3, 45% from the field, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals. Really took over that Bucks offense and led them to victory. Yes, Brook Lopez had a big game, game 5. But Chris Middleton is still the forefront of that Bucks team in both games that they won to close out the Hawks.
Robin always has his day to shine. I mean, we seen Scottie Pippen carry a tired Jordan-less team for a whole season. So I mean, Chris Middleton makes he extended for over $20 million a year. I think he's more than well compensated enough to be able to carry that Bucks team for. They paid him like an all-star. I think this year was his first time making an all-star team.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's a complete scrub. He has, the ability. But when you say you add that Batman Robin dynamic, I don't think anybody's ever going to consider Chris Middleton the alpha on that team while Giannis is there. He's missing 2 league MVPs. So I mean, he fills his role. He's spaces the floor for Giannis. He's the guy that they need to crunch to create in the half court. But you call up Milwaukee GM right now, who you could trade before, Giannis or Chris Middleton? You're gonna say Chris Middleton in a heartbeat and not think about it. So when you just break it down like that, Giannis is gonna be the Batman, and he's the guy that Milwaukee thinks about at night.
I'm gonna give y'all 2 hot takes real quick. Chris Middleton is the Batman of that team, but Giannis is the Superman. He's not Robin. He's another A+.
Can you have Batman and Superman on the same team?
Yeah, bro, you can. That's what they got.
Justice League, man.
Yeah, bro. It's not
Justice League.
Robin, it's the Batman and Superman. They're teaming up. And here's the second hot take. If it was Chris Middleton that was hurt and not Giannis, if Giannis was healthy and Middleton was hurt, the Hawks would have won that series.
I agree 110% with that.
Man, I hate agreeing, but that Batman Superman, that was good. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, it's just, they both do 2 different things, bro. Some ingredients you can mix, bro, and it makes a really good cake, bro. And I think that's what you got with Middleton and Giannis. They both do 2 different things. Now, imagine it's like Ben Simmons and Giannis, bro. Like, it's just not gonna mix.
That would be some ugly basketball. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, bro. You got him a shooter that can also defend, bro. So Giannis is the slasher, Middleton is the shooter, bro. I think they just mix so well together. And I think man, Middleton's on the track, bro. If he can get like 5 more seasons just hooping, bro, he might sneak into the Hall of Fame.
So when you say Chris Middleton can be a Batman, that implies that you think he can, lead his own team and carry his own team and be the best guy on a playoff or a championship contending team.
No, I never play a championship without another person. No, exact same. You don't think Klay Thompson and Zion Williamson could win the East healthy?
The only thing about that, to this point, Chris Middleton is more than just a shooter on this team. He's the shot creator. He's the guy that can create his own shot late in the shot clock. In those last minute in the quarter situations, like I said, he's the closer. But quarters 1 through 3, Giannis is the guy that gets the job done. That's why I agree with Vance's analogy of calling the Batman and Superman so much. They both bring different things to the table, and each guy knows when it's their time to shine. So when each guy knows when it's their time to shine and they each know their role, it's just a pairing that fits so perfectly. Because, of course, the media always wants to subordinate one guy and elevate the other guy. But this Bucks team can't be successful without both. And I think that I agree with Vance's assessment that if Chris Middleton went down, the Bucks wouldn't have a chance. But the fact that Chris Middleton stayed healthy and Giannis didn't, it kind of leads me to think that actually Chris Middleton is the Batman of this team. Yes, they fit perfectly, but Chris Middleton is the guy that pushes the envelope and wins you games. Giannis is the guy that puts up the regular season stats, fills the box score, but doesn't really amount to winning.
I ain't never seen a player like Giannis, bro. Honestly, I can't compare Giannis to anybody. Maybe.
I mean, I like it.
He can shoot. That's the only person I could think of.
But
a more agile and versatile Shaq.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. It all comes back to this point. We look at Giannis as a 7-foot small forward, but I think over time I've come to consider him as more of a center. No center can be successful without good perimeter play.
Facts.
And that's what Chris Middleton provides, and that's what's most important in the NBA right now. And that's why I say Chris Middleton is the Batman of that team, and Giannis is a subordinate Robin. Because in those crunch time minutes, Giannis can create his own shot. Outside of that pullback, hezzy, whatever, try to blow by. Chris Middleton can create his shot at all 3 levels. and win you that game, hit those big shots to take you to the promised land. Giannis can't do that because when it comes crunch time, there's only one thing Giannis wants to do, and that's attack the basket. And like we mentioned earlier, that wall technique ends all of that. So that's, I'm just saying, bro. Chris, it might be time to give Chris Middleton his flowers instead of saying he's a one-time All-Star, yada yada yada. I think it's time to give him his flowers and recognize that he's the best talent on that Bucks team.
Bro, the Robin on that team, Jrue Holiday.
Yeah.
I like Lopez. He protects the rim and shoots it. Yeah, I'm rocking with Bobby Porter, man. I'm sorry, it is what it is. I'm sorry, Bobby. No, bro, he had a thick mellow head, man. He out there stroking that thing. He was taking the league in a 3-point percentage. Like, come on now, we're playing with my man Bobby Porter. Little Rock
Arkansas
was a player growing up.
No, he did say that. I definitely like the Superman Batman analogy. Vance, I'm about to take that one. I just come back to the fact that if you're gonna deem somebody, which he was a first time All-Star, but if you're gonna deem somebody as Batman, you're gonna deem somebody that can, be the leader on a good playoff team. I just don't think Chris Middleton can do that. He is in a perfectly built situation for him. Taking it back to 2K, he's probably a good solid 85. Somebody that is a perfect complementary second superstar. But if you were to take him off and give him his own team and his own situation develop, I think he would struggle. So I mean, I like Chris Middleton a lot. His game is perfectly, like you said, Nick, perfectly complementary to somebody like Giannis. He's going to be able to create shots. You're going to be able to do things in the clutch. But Chris Middleton isn't really subject to the intense defensive pressure or having to go up against the best defender or being the main focus of a defensive game plan. So if those factors will apply to him, which he has the ability to take off because Giannis is still there. I don't think he would be as successful as we see him right now. So Giannis definitely aids his situation a lot and boosts up his profile.
I will argue that by just looking at the Nets series. The Nets started out by guarding Giannis with DeAndre Jordan and putting their best perimeter defender on Chris Middleton. But my point is, your best perimeter defender versus just a big guy who can stand in the paint.
I feel that. But, he's a complimentary second star, to Batman, somebody that can go out and control, can dictate the fortunes of a franchise. Chris Middleton doesn't do it for me. Great situational guy. Great that he's in the perfect situation for him right now. But take him off that Bucks team. Don't think he makes an All-Star team. Yeah, he's one of these high volume low efficiency guys. Honestly, because Giannis takes up a lot of defensive space on the game plan, and a lot of is the focal point. And Chris Middleton is able to operate in a space where he can take good shots, get to the ball where he wants to. I ain't gonna say essentially, rest and be streaky for quarters 1 through 3, and then turn it on when he needs to. And if he's gonna elevate to the status of a Batman, he would need to be able to come out, put up 25 and be more consistent night in and night out. And we've seen in this playoff, he's not been able to put with a month stretch or where he could be dependent upon by Milwaukee, to be that guy. Or the playoffs would have been a lot different.
Okay.
So Chris Middleton go to, bro?
Texas A&M.
Yeah. So talking about Milwaukee's success in the playoffs, I want to end up this conversation about the Bucks, just talking about what are the keys to success for the Bucks if they want to hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the finals.
We just had a lengthy discussion about the Bucky Scroll and Jrue Holiday, but that would be the key to success, Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday. We've seen them both be up and down. Y'all correctly admonished me when I said Eric Bledsoe wasn't that much better than Jrue Holiday, and I found out in the playoffs exactly why that was true. But he has been up and down. The defense has been pretty consistent for the most part. But his efficiency, especially in the Atlanta series, they have both laid eggs, and they lay egg against the Phoenix team. They'll be able to take advantage of that with that backcourt. If they can take CP and Devin Booker to a draw, which is the strength of that Phoenix team, then Milwaukee comes out on top. But if they're coming out 2-10, 3-11, kind of the same things, kind of that Jamal Murray thing where they're going to start slow and try to turn up in the fourth quarter. Chris, CP and Devin Booker are going to take it to them and come out efficient, and they're going to make the game unwinnable by the fourth quarter. So these guys need to come out. They need to get good starts. They need to be able to be consistent. They need to be able, for Budenholzer to play them or rely upon them.
Big key. They got to get a split in Phoenix in the first 2 games, and hope Giannis is back by game 3 because I think both teams are pretty even. So that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah. And for me, the key to the Bucks is paint play. Whether Giannis comes back or not, the key for the Bucks is paint play. You saw how Brook Lopez dominated Game 5. You got a dominant force in the paint on the other end in DeAndre Ayton. I think the Bucks have to continue to be aggressive in attacking the paint with their guards and allowing Brook Lopez to go to work down low. Because if they don't go to work in the paint, it's going to be harder for all of the shooters on the perimeter to get good looks and hit their open shots because there won't be many. So in order for the Bucks to win with or without Giannis, they need to attack the paint, whether that be with drives, Brook Lopez post ups, or however they can manufacture paint points in order to try to get that Phoenix defense to collapse, to kick it out to shooters like Pat Connaughton, Brent Forbes, and Chris Middleton even. So that's my big key to success for the Milwaukee Bucks.
I think, going off that, Nick, Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton have been paid like all-stars. They need to perform like all-stars. And we can get your complimentary guys to, step up and be consistent. I think, like you said, a Pat Connaughton, like a Brent Forbes, I won't say Dante DiVincenzo, but he's out. Those guys get more confident and able to step in and hit these shots and, do the things that, got friends started role players they need to do. But, Giannis going to do it. Giannis is going to do what he's going to do. He's going to give you 30, going to give you 10, going to give you 5 or 6. I think the play of Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton is going to affect, the role players, the Bobby Porters, the guys, and allow them to be more confident and step into the roles, and those 2 guys are the catalysts for this series.
So right now, call the series. Who wins? Bucks or Suns?
I'm going to go Phoenix in 4. Honestly, I think Giannis he keeps hitting the wall every single time he seems like he elevates, and I think now he's at the championship wall. I don't knock it down. I just don't think it's this season because he's already going to be at a disadvantage. He's definitely going to miss game 1, most likely game 2. He might not. Well, he'll probably fly out to Phoenix, but I don't think he'll play. So I'm gonna say Phoenix is going to take those first 2. And then I think they're gonna take their hearts out in game 3, and that's gonna be GG, bro. It's gonna be it. But at that point, it's too late. I think Phoenix, Phoenix smells blood every single time it's time to get rid of a team. They put them away. And
if Giannis don't win this year, when will he get a chip?
Who?
With KD still in the East. If Giannis don't, this will be his best shot. I think that might. Sweet.
He's only 26, bro. Like he got 10 more years.
Yeah. You're right.
I mean, I know it seems like now or never, but he's only 26, bro. He has time.
Just going back to what we said earlier, I think the content of this playoffs has probably set up one of the easiest roads he's going to get to the finals. So I would suggest that he probably capitalize on this opportunity. I don't think it'll happen, but if he don't win it this year, it's going to be tougher and tougher to win in these years with KD still in the East.
What do you think, Nick?
I agree with Josh's assessment that it's going to be harder for Giannis to win if he doesn't win this year, but I still don't think he wins this year. Give me Phoenix in 5 games, gentleman's sweep. I think Giannis playing, Giannis not playing isn't going to be a big factor in the series because, like I said earlier, Phoenix is just a deep team with a roster that goes 1 through 12, and any one of those guys can get hot and contribute a lot to that Phoenix team. So that's why I'm rocking with Phoenix.
My little head gonna be so lonely in a little bit. The edit that Nick finna make. I can talk myself into Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday winning the game or 2. I mean, they did in the finals. Devin Booker, Chris Paul. Crazy, I'm really arguing both sides of the argument. I love it. They can be inconsistent. We've seen how Chris Paul can affect that offense and try to micromanage, and slow down Phoenix offense to the point where it's not where it needs to be. Giannis, I don't think that they have a paint. Well, DeAndre Ayton's in there, but I don't think that they're going to be able to consistently slow down Giannis. I think that Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday can be the catalyst that they need. Phoenix won a regular season matchup, but I think Giannis might be blood in the water mode. Like you said, Nick, for him to be able to get this to the final, he's been constantly put down. Milwaukee has been through the road. They have a little bit more playoff experience. So I think they'll be able to get it done.
Wet like I'm booked, bro. Stop playing. Suns in 4.
Facts.
Would the champion this year be the worst NBA champion in the past 20 years?
I think we all went through the list, and I'm not too fond of Chauncey Billups, Richard Hamilton, and Ben Wallace being the NBA champions, but it's gonna be a little tough. I think
I'm gonna keep it short and simple, short and sweet, and say yes.
Yeah, I agree. The only team that I was looking at the list, the only team I think they would even go past 5 games, either team would be against the 06 Miami Heat, bro, with D Wade and Shaq, just because they was on OP mode. But that 06 team reminds me of the Phoenix Suns. You got Gary Payton and Chris Paul, both vets trying to get their first ring. D Wade and D Book, shooting guards going crazy. Posey and Antoine Walker. You got shooters on the wing. They do their thing. Then you got Shaq and Aiden, both bigs. Shaq was averaging 18 and 10, and Aiden was averaging 16 and 11 in that 06 season. That's why I got Suns, bro. It just reminds me of that team.
And so that wraps up our NBA Finals preview, man. Hope y'all enjoyed it. But before y'all get out of here, we got to hand out some game balls for big-time performances in the conference finals. So I got to give mine to Chris Middleton. Put up 23 points per game in the conference finals and led the Bucks to 2 wins in Game 5 and Game 6 without Giannis to take them to the finals. So for Chris Middleton's big-time performance, I got to give him a game ball. Big shout-out to him.
I gotta get mine to Cam Reddish. So always one of my personal favorite prospects coming out of high school. I personally think he probably should have been like a top 3 pick. Did underperform at Duke a lot, but the potential was always there. 60 pointers coming off the bench, most in Hawks history by a bench player in Game 6. I don't know what motivational quote I saw this on Instagram, but it definitely said, "Be ready when your time is called." Cam Reddish, for the past couple of seasons, hasn't been getting the most consistent minutes, has been injured. Has had a track record at this point of being underperforming, underachieving. He was a dog in high school, and for the most part has been living off their reputation. But to come in, play stellar defense on your boy Chris Middleton that you just talked about, to come in, knock down shots, and to provide your best play at the most critical time is something that doesn't happen that often. So Cam Reddish, when Anthony Edwards says he got dogged out by you, essentially, he's gonna get my respect. So give Cam Reddish his respect, baby PG.
I like both of those, but I'm gonna give my game ball to the NBA finalists, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns. Not for the reason that you guys think, but for getting rid of Eric Bledsoe. He's an inefficient 3-point shooter, bro. The league is moving in a different way, bro. I'm gonna have to give him heat for that. Shout out to the finalists.
I like Eric Bledsoe still, y'all. I'm sorry. Never mind. It's about 2:30.
Bro, that Kentucky team.
I like Eric Bledsoe, bro. I'm sorry. He was a dog in NBA 2K14.
Emphasis on was.
Yeah, in Kentucky.
So you telling me they don't like washed up point guard that shoot 23% from the field and 3?
No.
Dang, that's tough. He was cold though. I like Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe, I don't know what you really can do for me now. You really can't do a whole bunch for me, honestly. But we're not gonna really slam. They're slam. Yeah. Let me jump off the fence. He does suck now, huh? I've been kind of riding. He does suck now. I'm glad I got my brother to show me to the light. Yeah, I'm probably gonna be about a 75 and 2K next year.
And so, bro, with that, we're gonna go and wrap this episode up, man. As always, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. We probably finna monetize this junk coming soon. NIL just took effect, man. So we trying to get paid as college athletes, man. No Cap Sports. Make sure y'all tell y'all friends to subscribe. We just some broke college students trying to get some money, man.
No cap. We're not trying to mask up and rob nobody. Make us legit.
Facts. And so with that, bro, make sure y'all tell y'all friends, and we out of here.